Sarge, we're in a sewer. I'm going to talk about the turtles.
Take a look at these two, and then you take a look at what they created, and you start building a picture of two guys on a kind of sleep-deprived asset trip binge. Because I'm thinking, that's probably what it took for these two to have been thinking, let's make a comic book about 4 turtles, right? We make them Kung Fu Grandmasters, name them after famous Renaissance artists, and we give them a rat. But the rat is like their father and sensei. And weirdly enough, it works. I think the concept is wildly creative, but for such a unique concept, I'm really surprised though that in the past few years we have been eating like peasants, living off scraps. Even the live action movies are underwhelming and a bit hard to sit through. There are some good projects out there, but they must be living underground as well, and it's almost always the same 2 or 3 villains, the same plot. Shredder is out doing something bad and the foot fetish clan is close by, in the shadows, hiding in their onesies. I am jabbing more in the direction of the mainstream shows and movies because there's been a lot of iterations and I haven't watched all of them because I'm not 7 years old and or insane. That's why I'm crossing fingers and holding breath for the new one, with the main reason that they are doing something relatively new. They are taking more of a risk with the characters instead of playing it safe with Shredder. It is a bit soon to make any conclusions, but that's what I gathered from the trailer anyway. I am hopeful with this one. I want to contextualize my hopefulness a bit better as to why I think they're all heading in the right direction. I've been wanting to talk about this ugly beauty for a while now, and this feels like the perfect moment to do exactly that. In 2007, we got a movie that is one of the best TMNT has offered to date. An amazing creative plot, relatable characters, and snappy entertaining action scenes. But then the animation, oh boy, the CG style is really rough. You kind of get used to it, but you get used to it like you get used to back pain. And Mutant Mayhem doesn't suffer from the same Jimmy Neutron looking CG style. They're going with the fancy pants stylized art, and this is objectively more fun to look at. But even with the rough art style, this type of franchise where your protagonists are giant mutant turtles is the perfect fit for one of these odd premises that I want to see more of. A weird and wacky story about ancient warriors' power and immortality, a brotherhood sacrificed to stone statues, a horde of monsters released upon the earth, and after all that effort, the villain realizing that immortality is actually a curse, and the mission he goes on to resurrect his brothers and catch the monsters to undo this curse. It's by no means flawless, but this is not just the same old Shredder and the same old Rhino and Hulk. It's something new. I prefer when they take risks and make something that could flop, because even if it does, at least they took the shot. Even Into the Spider-Verse was a huge risk, because every studio was chasing that Pixar animation high, and Sony made this new stylized design and it paid off. The suits noticed stacks and stacks rolling in. I'm happy that they are experimenting with new animation designs, but I really hope that this style doesn't get abused just because of the monetary success of Spider-Verse. But anyway, speaking of green, the turtles get entwined in this entire battle and family drama. When they encounter the Stone Brotherhood yeehaw these monsters so they can send them back, and they are doing all of this under the order of their brother. They later find out that all this work is to reverse this immortality curse, but they just thought out, they don't see it as a curse, so they are not on the same page as their brother that's been alive for centuries, which naturally leads to a bit of a rocky relationship. I know this is aimed to be a kids movie, so even though I'm not a fan of it, there is a type of leniency when there's small plot holes or mischaracterizations, because the focus is more on the action and the jokes. But I have to admit, even for a kids movie, there are some good jokes. I have an appreciation for almost all sorts of comedy, including lowbrow ones. I enjoyed most of the jokes. There are some odd ones that really missed the mark, but most of it not bad. The dialogue sometimes got icky, especially with Raphael. He's supposed to be a brooding and dark vigilante, and they couldn't quite land that threatening tone, so it often came across as an edgy teenager.
Crime never took a break. You did.
Maybe that's exactly what they were going for. They are teenagers after all, but still it didn't sit right with me. Even with the flat jokes and uncomfortable dialogue choices here and there, and this clunky art, I think all in all, they did a great job. I like what they did with this movie, and I think the main reason is that there's something new for us to engage with. By no means do I dislike Shredder. He had a great backstory, and as a character, he has a real menacing presence to him. And that's most likely the reason they keep going back to him. It's very similar to Spider-Man's Uncle Ben. We understand why they keep going back to him, but there's only so many times you can reuse a character before the audience gets frustrated and kind of bored more than they are entertained and emotionally moved by those characters. But if you just have to have those references of those characters that have been used so many times, there's a sort of band-aid solution. You can show the emotional impact they left on the characters, the protagonist, without having them in the movie itself. Let's assume that they actually wanted to have Shredder in this movie, this mutant meme, but knew it would just be another movie thrown on the pile. They could have showed the aftermath of the battle with Shredder at the beginning of the movie without actually showing the battle, showing them hiding underground, licking the wounds and recovering physically and emotionally. But this is a lukewarm solution. I would rather they just explore new ideas and characters. That being said, I would not be surprised at all if they tease the Shredder at the end of Mutant Mayhem. It just feels too easy to not do. I know the Krang is not new, but it is a new version of an old idea. I think they should have just given the mutant crew a new name, but I have no idea what's going on behind the screens at the studio. I usually try not judge a movie based on the trailer, but sometimes it's not possible to reserve their judgment. I mean, Black Adam trailer was so predictable, felt like I had a crystal ball showing me what he was going to say next, and the Transformers Rise of Beast trailer where they couldn't be bothered to CG wet clothes after the gorilla splashes around in the puddle right next to these people. I know the trailers are not a one-to-one reflection of how the movie is going to be, but it does create an idea of what to expect. Sometimes I can't help it. So having this amazing art style and relatively new lineup of villains brought some flicker of hope. There are some minor concerns. I got the idea that the Turtles won't have the unique characteristics they usually have to the same extent. Raphael seems quite similar to Michelangelo. If it wasn't for the colored headbands, I'm not sure if I would have known who was who. But anyway, I'm going with an open mind regardless if this is produced by Seth Rogen. I think this one has a lot going for it. Whatever you do, just don't watch Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the movie. I hate this movie so much. It's the opposite of the 2007 one. The animation is not bad, but everything else is just a hot mess. I hate the comedy and the arrogance of these characters. And the Turtles have some mystical inner power, and Mikey has hair growing on the sides. It is terrible, and just believe me, just never watch it. But hey, if you made it till the end, I hope my video didn't fill you with the same rage as this trash did to me. Rather, give the older one a shot and let me know what you think. And thank you for watching.